Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo.
On this episode of the History of the Course podcast with Curtis and Josh, we finish our look at the band known as AFI. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings. And make sure to subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star review, or write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcast service you're using. Make sure to check us out on TikTok and give us a follow at IsSurvivedByProductions. And if you'd like to see us do some live streams, leave us a comment or tweet us the keyword stream. Now, without further ado, let's start the show.
The devil is in Atlanta, army surrounded.
Warn your warmth to turn away. Here it's December every day.
I like that.
Press your lips to the sculptures, and surely you'll stay.
Love like winter.
For of sugar and ice, I am made. I am made. Welcome back to the Welly. What the heck?
Willy.
Welcome back to the History of the Course podcast, sponsored by the Church of the Seventh Track, all hail, where each and every episode, me and Josh coordinate on our intros, and we look at a band from the chorus genre. I'm Curtis, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Josh. What up?
What up?
Well. I'm just going to go ahead and start it off. We're going to kick this one off with a bang. What was that?
That was the monster from Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking. I was like, what, is he doing Pan's Labyrinth?
Yeah, the ones that eats the kid and leaves their shoes.
Okay. On to a happier note. How was the concert last night, buddy?
Real good. I am very tired.
So they were able to do it. That's good.
Yes.
Good
Yeah,
to
it was,
hear,
and
man.
it was the first one, I guess. So like they took those dates off, and then this was the first one that they were back on. So
Nice.
yeah,
Very nice.
you
So was
could
it technically the
feel
first
energy.
date? Was it technically the first date of the tour then?
I
think
don't
it
know.
was, wasn't it? I think it was.
Maybe.
Because I think they kicked it off this past week and they had to cancel those first few shows.
Okay.
So that
I
would
guess.
make
I mean,
sense
they
why there
didn't
was so much
mention
energy,
that.
maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong about that. Good, man. Good.
was
Any
really good.
highlights?
No, not in particular. There was just like I mean, overall it was really good. I never the only time that I felt like there was a lull at all was like a couple songs from the end. They let their drummer, I think it's Zach.
Yeah, Zach.
He's got like a side project,
Mhm.
and he came out and like sang one of his songs from his side project, and it wasn't very good. Like it was like I could tell people were like kind of trying to like humor it, but like people did leave. Like when he like there were some people who
Wow.
left.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know.
He was like, honey, if we leave now while the crappy singer's playing, we could beat the traffic home.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I don't know. We talked about it a little bit, and I was like, it was the only lull. But that
Was
just
it the
doesn't
only exception?
it just
See what I did
doesn't
there,
play.
man? Yeah. Just in
Um
case, I don't even remember if we mentioned it, but this is Paramore we're talking about. I don't know if we even mentioned that name.
we never did.
Yeah, it's people are like, who are you talking about?
Who are they talking about?
He went to go see Paramore last night, people.
Yes. And that just never plays, man. It would have been like if Under Oath, because there for a good while, Aaron had started the Almost.
Yeah.
If they just
Either
stopped
that
the
or
show,
Yeah, go ahead.
midway and had him come out and play an Almost song. It's like,
Ugh.
what?
Well, and then Spencer's got his own side project too. And I think it's kind of I could be wrong, but I think it's electronic. I don't know. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Was the stage on the end or in the center?
It was on the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Um, Production was all really good.
How about traffic?
Um, we went after like the first couple bands were already going. I
Who were
don't
they with?
know Foles and the
Oh
Linda
yeah.
Lindas,
I think I've heard of Linda Lindis too. I know Foles, but yeah.
but yeah, and then we got there during one of their sets. I'm not sure which one it was, but because we had to go through like ticket lines and stuff like that, and then we
Security
had
and
to go
everything. Yeah.
through we pretty much immediately got in a merch line when we got there.
Nice.
So because we were like, we know Paramore will be playing soon and we'll be dipping afterwards.
Yeah. Did you get some
So
good merch?
yeah,
Nice. Very
I was
nice,
gonna
man.
wear the shirt I got, but I guess it's in the washer.
Oh well. Go get
It's
it, even if it's wet.
it's pretty cool. It's got two x-rays on it
Mhm.
of like somebody's head and neck. And I was like, okay, that's like pretty cool looking. What I didn't realize is at the bottom, it
Oh no.
says that it's Haley's x-ray from 3 years ago.
Nice.
And then on the back it says something like on doctor's orders or something like that. And then below that it says excessive head banging can lead to fractured vertebrae.
Nice.
And
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so
Cool, man. Sounds like you had a lot of fun. That's good to hear.
it was a good time. I was going to say, there was a noticeable distinction to me, at least, between people who are more like they came around to Paramore more the last couple albums, and then
Right.
people who've kind of been with them from the beginning.
Right.
Um, it really felt like there were a fair number, I don't want to say a ton, but there were a fair number of people in there that I felt like did not know Decode when they played it.
Probably not.
And that was
Probably not.
crazy to me. Um, Especially, it was on the Twilight soundtrack.
Hmm.
Like it had that music video that had a bunch of Twilight stuff in it. I don't know. That one just felt like one that people should know. I'm not expecting people to know, the deep tracks off the first couple albums, but
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No,
um,
I'm with you on that. I mean, as much like publicity as Decode got being on the Twilight movie soundtrack and everything, yeah, I would think people would have known that one. And they still play it a lot. I don't listen to the radio that much anymore. I mean, from time to time I might, and they still play that song every once in a while on
yeah.
local radio here. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, and okay, so everybody's singing along most of the show.
Mm,
And through all the new stuff, it was just booming, like every voice in the
everybody's in
crowd.
it. Yeah.
But then yeah, it was easily half as many people for Decode. I
Decode.
was like,
That's
ooh, you
man,
kind
that's
of feel
weird.
like the air go out a little bit just from
Ugh.
yeah. But it was really
Yeah.
good. They did some kind of cool things that weren't like over the top and didn't feel like ridiculous.
Cheesy.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, when we saw Panic last, it really like, and I'll give him credit. It was a massive production. It was a whole big thing, but it felt like I was seeing like a show in Vegas or
Right.
and this just felt like it still felt like I'm at a show, but there was
Yeah.
just a lot more going on.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Um, they did kind of a cool thing with like a light box um up high. They had like taken a second to reset when the lights came back on. It was just the three of them, the original trio.
Yeah.
and they were up in that light box. And so with like the stuff that was behind them and everything, they were just silhouettes. And so they played like
Nice.
a couple songs like that, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
There was kind of a cool moment in the first few songs where it was the first like kind of theatrical thing they did where they blew like a ton of red confetti, but it was at the end of one of the songs. And when like they changed the lights, it looked like there were just like fireflies like all over the stadium. It's pretty crazy.
Whoa, that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, that's
So
interesting, man. Cool.
pretty good.
Pretty good. All right, Larry David. Would you like to start us off on what you listened to this week
Yeah, for sure. Can you guess what I listened to this week?
besides AFI?
I actually
A
didn't
ton
listen
of
to any
Paramore,
AFI
right?
until today. So
A ton of Paramore. He was
yes,
getting
sir, yes,
hyped. He
sir.
was getting hyped. Is there anything else besides Paramore that you listen to? Is this going to be like all the albums are like super tiny on your screen?
Well, I think you're just gonna have to hold on and see here.
Boop. Ooh. Paramore, 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 and Every Time I Die covers Paramore.
Radical.
Uh,
Because Radical the last few weeks keeps finding its way back into my rotation.
all right,
It was a
Radical's over
great
with.
album.
Do you want to listen to Pneumonia Hawk?
Hmm? Hmm? Hmm?
You know you
How
want
about Pneumonia Hawk? And then
to.
Pneumonia Hawk ends, and it's like, how about Radical? Radical? Just a
All right.
never-ending cycle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, why not? Nice. Cool,
Yeah,
man.
Radical, dude. Do you remember whenever that video popped up? It was just somebody's like cell phone from a concert, and it was like probably close to a year before Radical came out. Maybe not quite
No.
that long, but it was 6 to 9 months, I'm gonna say.
Okay.
And it was of let me check here real quick. Just want to double check.
All right. Like something like promotional for the album or what?
Um no. It
Okay.
was a at a show they were playing one of the
Oh, like
tracks
a new
that was
song.
going to
Oh,
be on
gotcha.
their new album.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't remember seeing
Um
anything like that.
I believe it was ugh, I don't want to get it wrong.
Don't get it wrong now.
No, okay, I'm right. It was Dark Distance.
Oh, okay.
And the video only covers like I think like the last maybe minute or something of the song. But then it gets to right before the breakdown with that bass. Um, I don't want to say solo, but the bass builder,
Yeah.
just like the dun dun da 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 dun dun. Um, and yeah, I remember seeing that video and being so hyped for this album because I was like, oh my God. Like Every Time I Die is not the best live. They go too hard all the time. And like, I feel like his vocals are only amazing the first couple days of tour. And then
Okay.
he's hoarse as hell for
Just
like the
yeah.
rest of the tour. Um, but
Pace yourself, sir.
I knew just seeing that like that was them live playing it. I was like, oh, I can only imagine what this is going to sound like really, you know,
Right.
put together on the album. And it did not disappoint, that being the first track. I feel like they go back and forth between having really great opening tracks and then maybe their second and third really being the ones to ramp it up.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if you consider let me see which one I was thinking of.
Oh,
I don't know if
could it be?
Underwater Bimbos from Outer Space is like the greatest opening track. Um,
It's a good one though.
it is good, but it's not like amazing. Roman Holiday, good, not amazing. No Son of Mine, amazing. And then also Dark Distance. Yeah, Fear and Trembling, not one of my
what's
favorites on Low Teens.
from Parts Unknown? What's that one called?
The Great Secret.
Go blow your brains out, bro.
Huh.
Dang. I just remember hearing that for the first time. I was like, oh God. It's gnarly, but but it's gnarly. Dang it, why
Is
does it gotta sound so good?
what's more brutal, that or the Amir song that's like about a school shooter?
Oh geez. I
Let
don't
me see
know.
which one that was. I can't remember the name of it.
Jeez.
It's taken off of a lot of stuff, or they changed the name to like track one.
Yeah.
Like they don't. I can't because I cannot remember what it's called.
Like it's censored? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it like changes it instead of what it,
What
what
it
it was
actually
actually.
is.
Yeah, on Spotify, it's untitled.
Yeesh.
I can't remember what
What
it was
album is it?
called. It's Eternal Enemies.
Oh,
It
okay.
was 2014.
So we can look it up here real quick. Is it the opener or what's
Yeah, it's the first track.
oh, I can already see it. Bring a gun to school.
Yep.
It's got an asterisk. Says title was later changed to untitled on the album's retail release. That's funny. Mm. New metal. Ugh. Okay. Mm. Did you want to say anything else about your Paramore albums? I mean, you talked a lot about Paramore already, so
Yeah, no, we're good.
okay. He was obsessed with Paramore. I don't know if you guys noticed, but he was really into Paramore this week.
I had to prep.
Nice. You had to prep. Read them and weep. You ever heard of Tiger's Job before?
I don't think so.
Okay, so they're I'm gonna butcher this. Let me see what their actual genre title would be. Let's see, they got them under indie rock, emo, and pop punk. I mean, I guess I could, yeah, I could kind of see some of that. I don't know. The pop punk, I mean, they've kind of got some pop to them at times. I don't know, pop punk though. Anyway, there's two albums. Their initial one, which is the one with the guy with the pizza, that's their self-titled debut. And then the one right above it is called Charmer. That's their third full-length album. Those two, dude, those are they're so good. These two, well, even just Tiger's Jaw in general, that's one of those bands that I call my summer band. That's one of those where it's like it's got a good feeling, and I always think of summer when I listen to them. You know?
Further seems forever.
Yeah,
PM today.
yeah. I was gonna ask you if you had a band like that.
Yeah,
Um,
Newfound Glory. A lot of pop
yeah,
punk feels that way, you know.
yeah, yep.
4 years strong. That's the greatest summertime band of all.
We also have We Lost the Sea. They're the quietest place on earth. Um, I've talked about them before. They're a post
Mhm.
rock instrumental band. I really love that album. The thing that's interesting about that band is, especially with this album, they started out with a vocalist. It was very few and far between when he would show up on songs though, but he was still part of the band and he just did vocals. And there's vocals on this album. And right after this album released, he died. And then they decided to continue on, but not get a vocalist. And then they turned into an instrumental band.
Hmm.
But that's a really good album, in my opinion. And then this big one is a new band that I listen to. It's a post rock instrumental band. It's called Carved into the Sun. The album's called The Earth Fell Away. Eric, check that one out, buddy. I think you might like that one. So yeah, that's what I listened to this week. And now
Fair.
back to regular programming. Do we even want to talk about this band today? I mean, we can talk about the first album. I don't know how much we got to say on the rest of them, but gonna be rough.
Yeah.
I'll just say, let me just go ahead and say my half. I like December Underground. I don't like it as much as Sing the Sorrow or Art of Drowning or Black Sails. It's still good. Um, yeah, everything after that, Crash Love, Burials, what's the other one? Self-titled AFI, um, and then the newest one, Bodies. I don't hate them, but they're all four of those albums to me they're just there. They're just another album, and they don't do it for anything for me. I'm not personally going to go out there and be like, oh, you know what? I want to go listen to Crash Love today. That's why I want to go listen to. I'm feeling Crash Love. I'm just going to tell you that's not going to happen. I might pick a song here and there off it and be like, yeah, I could go for that. That's stuck in my head right now. But overall, these albums are not, for me personally, they're not ones that I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go listen to Burials today, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Um, After December Underground,
mm,
Crash Love still has a lot of elements of December Underground. Um, and I didn't hate it as much as I thought I was going to.
okay.
It's still pretty redeemable for me.
Okay.
It's not as good as any of the other albums before it, but it's still it's still within the range, like
Okay.
coming off of December Underground, headed in this new direction, it's still listenable for me.
Right. Okay.
Once you go beyond that, it really feels like we've got multiple albums of just filler songs. There's no bangers. I struggle to figure out which one of these tracks is supposed to be the single, the hit, you know?
Where's
Um
the hit? We
yeah, they're
have no
going
hit.
they're going in this more commercial direction. Like I should be able to see the hits.
Yeah.
It was laid out pretty clear on December Underground. It's Miss Murder and Love Like Winter. But
Yeah,
yeah,
easily.
it gets kind of hard to tell after that. So
The water
um
gets kind of muddy.
there was only like beyond Crash Love, there's only like really one redeemable section for me. And it was I believe the back half of the Blood album. And it's not even like, so She Speaks the Language and The Wind That Carries Me Away, those were both trash. But for like the three, maybe like
Garbage.
three or four, even five tracks before that, all felt like somewhere in between Crash Love and December Underground. Like they kind of
Okay.
got back to some older like riffs that they had used in the past.
Mhm.
I noticed that, so that's why I think it kind of had a familiar feeling to it. Missing Man EP, I didn't care for that at all. I didn't like that at all.
Oh
But
man.
they make it really hard to entirely write off the back half of their discography because like there are it'll go from like a track that's horrible to a track that's passable. And so it
Right.
keeps you in this lane of being like, is this okay? Like not is this good, but
Nah.
is this okay? You know?
What's the word? I'm in limbo. I'm in limbo here. I'm in
Yeah.
AFI limbo.
It'd be easier if they just made me write them off like Alexis on Fire did.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh boy. Well, let's dive on into it here. Success from the band's recent album Sing the Sorrow, along with their changing sound, reaching new audiences, saw the band sign with Interscope Records to release their next album, 2006's December Underground from Interscope Records. Produced by Jerry Finn and the band, it debuted at number one on the Billboard 200.
They were
Certi-
number one.
they were number one, certified gold with over 500,000 copies sold just 7 years later by 2013. Nice. Supposedly, check out this one. Interested to see if this is true or not, but supposedly over 120 songs were written for this album. 120 songs.
That's
What?
crazy.
That's insane, man. Obviously, some were never finished or never even recorded. Or who knows? Maybe out of these 120 songs, we get the rest of the discography. I don't know.
Right? Yeah, they're just
Who
like
knows, man?
slow dumping them in albums every few years.
Right. Exactly. Regarding the album's title, lead singer Davey Havok stated, quote, December Underground is a time and a place. It is where the cold can huddle together in darkness and isolation.
Every time you say it, I can't help but hear him like I can't remember which track that is like December Underground.
Oh man, that's funny.
Do
You
you
sound like a minstrel
remember?
singing.
Yeah. Do you remember during the era of this album,
Hmm.
the MTV Music Awards performance that they did where they played
No.
Miss Murder?
No.
Oh man, that was a big one.
Why?
I feel like that's where you really first saw Davey Havok like in this kind of like ultra emo androgynous kind of
This is
fascinating
true. I
stage he
mean,
went
this
through.
was, yeah,
You see it a little bit during
Sing the
Sing the
Sorrow.
Sorrow,
Yeah, not as much
but
as December Underground, dude.
yeah, he
That
really
was
like leans into it
extreme.
in that album.
Yeah.
I feel like they all kind of did.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
But I mean, nobody did it harder than Davey, though.
yeah.
I mean, Jade was right behind him, but yeah, what is happening? Noises coming from everywhere, apparently. While we wait on Josh, in Scott Shelter's review of the album from slantmagazine.com, you know what? I'll hold off on that one because Josh may have something to say about that. So I'll go ahead and talk about these songs while we wait on Josh to come back. Songs on this album include the pre-gap track, Untitled, the very first song known as Prelude 1221, Kill Caustic, Miss Murder, Summer Shudder, The Interview, Love Like Winter, Affliction, The Missing Frame, Kiss and Control, The Killing Lights, 37 millimeter. Endlessly, she said. Endlessly. Ooh. And bonus tracks Fallen Like the Sky, Rabbits Are Roadkill on Route 37, and on the Arrow. You good over there?
Yeah, I get
What
there's
was
a
going
car
on?
alarm going off like
Oh,
right here. It was so loud that I didn't know if the mic was
I
picking it up.
oh no, I couldn't hear anything.
But then I was like, wait, is that my car?
Oh, wait, am I
So I
being
was like,
robbed? Okay, so before we start talking about some of the tracks that I just listed off, I'll go back here and read the review from Scott Shelter from slantmagazine.com. He stated, quote, AFI's major label debut, Sing the Sorrow, was a decent commercial success in 2003, but because it arrived pre-iTunes and pre-MySpace, a lot of AFI's would-be fan base never heard it. The following year, My Chemical Romance blasted onto the scene. Blasted, I say, stealing AFI's Alterna Goth thunder and forcing the Bay Area band to play catch up. Accordingly, AFI returned with December Underground and the single Miss Murder, maybe the most radio friendly song they have recorded to date. You can't begrudge the band for softening its edge a little to earn an overdue mainstream hit, especially when the results are this good. The album closely follows the Sorrow Blueprint, with songs in which each chorus is climax, featuring massively catchy pop melodies and walls of anthemic. I thought that I was like, what? Anthemic vocals. No fewer than 33 people receive credit for background vocals on this album. That's insane. 33 people? Do you really need that
damn,
many people? I mean, why don't you just hire a choir at that point?
that
He
is a
goes on to
lot,
say,
but I don't know, man. Like
I mean, it does
whenever
make the
local bands would
album.
record albums, they would always just be like, hey, anybody who can,
Come
just like
on
hit up
over.
other bands and be like, hey, everybody come over so we can do gang vocals and stuff. So
True. He goes on to say, quote, Summer Shudder is the most obvious success, balancing the intense guitar work of Jade Puget with a catchy as hell refrain, while 37mm opens with a haunting bass intro, but moves into a similarly sunny chorus. Both are impressive, even if they never quite reach the fist-pumping heights of Sorrow standouts Silver and Cold and The Leaving Song Part 2. He would finish his review by stating, quote, both accessible and artistic, December Underground is destined to give AFI that larger mainstream audience they missed out on the last time around. What say ye, Josh, of December Underground?
I feel like that was a pretty good review. That's
good.
That summed it up pretty well.
Yeah.
I really like December Underground. It's different than the AFI albums before it, but still has a lot of elements of Sing the Sorrow. There's only like 1 or 2 points on the album where I'm just kind of like, meh. I have always hated that track that has the phone call in it.
Oh yeah, which one is that? Is that the?
I can't remember.
Is it the interview? It's at the end of it, isn't it? So you probably find it pretty easily. But yeah, that's kind of
the
annoying.
end of the interview is calm down, girl.
Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do.
I'm pretty sure it's Killing Lights.
Okay. I was almost thinking maybe it was towards the end of the album. Yeah, that's annoying. Somebody gonna answer that phone? Like Leo on Seinfeld. Somebody answer that damn phone. Are you listening to it right now?
I'm trying to, yeah.
Yeah. It should be at the end of it. Just go to the end of the track. Just go to the end of the track. That's all you gotta do. Just go to the end of the track.
I am. I've been through to the end of many tracks.
It's funny because like Miss Murder was like their big song, and I remember going back through this time around listening to it. I haven't listened to that song in years, and I don't know. It was still good, but like it didn't even like. I don't know. It's weird to say this, but like it didn't even sound like what I used to think it sounded like. I don't know. That's really weird to say. Even I can't even put a finger on what that means. But it just felt weird listening to it again. And yeah, I love Like Winter. That was a good one too. I just remember like them busting on the scene with those on like local radio.
Yeah.
You know.
I've got it. It's at the end of our old friend, track 7.
Oh,
but remember we talked about this. Prelude 1221. Is it really a full song? But the beginning half of Affliction is great. Like it's a great song.
I thought we said Affliction was okay to be track 7. There was something else there was another band and album we were talking about. Oh man, we were off by 1. And I said, oh, it was Norma Jean. Okay. Neck and the Hemp. And I said, well, technically After Hours Animals is just an interlude, so we can take that one away. Yeah. Did you think of this one? Because Eric pointed this one out to me. Track 7 on, I don't have it in front of me. Track 7. Go look up track 7 on He Is Legends, Suck Out the Poison real quick. Go look to see what it is, buddy. Looking, searching. He Is Legend.
Serpent Sickness.
Yes. What's right after Serpent Sickness?
Electronic Throat.
Yes. Now, I pose the question to you, Josh. Go up a few. I think it's track 4. What is that one? Openings?
4 is Mushroom River. 5 is opening.
5 is opening. That's an interlude track. It's like an instrumental short interlude track. Take it out, buddy. What's track 7?
Electronic Throat, which is amazing.
You're welcome.
But let me also say that we don't necessarily need to do that because Serpent Sickness is also a strong song.
It's good. I only said that because I knew Electronic Throat was your favorite
Oh,
off of that
that
album.
song
So,
slaps.
yes. So that's the only reason I say that. Yes. Yep. 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 Track 7 on here
Curtis,
is Affliction.
this is
Nice.
how I built my wife. I brought her dead body to life
Oh my God. I was like,
with
what
the
was happening?
soul of a gypsy queen and the
I was
brightest eyes that I've ever seen.
I was really afraid where he was going with this one. Oh God. I knew it. I knew she was fake. No. Cool, man. Anything else on December Underground?
Now let's talk about Suck Out the Poison some
For
more.
another day, my friend. For another day.
No, I that's why, I really encourage people to go in with an open mind on this one. I
Mhm.
really like this album, and for different reasons than I like all the ones before it. Um, it is the last very, what I feel like is very strong album for them.
Yeah. I did take your advice and it did. That was good. It was good advice to listen to it the way I did. So
You
good
got to
thinking, Josh.
disconnect this
Good thinking.
album from the ones
Disconnect
before it.
yourself.
Yeah.
Put yourself on an island.
Put
Yeah.
yourself back in 2006 and just
Yo,
enjoy
you
it.
don't know anything about 2009's new album. You don't know
No,
anything about Sing the Sorrow. You're brand new, buddy. You're brand
pretend
new.
the band ends after this.
Exactly. There you go. 6 months after release of the band's most acclaimed album to date, the band would release a live album entitled I Heard a Voice. I Heard a Voice. Live from Long Beach Arena. Initially released as a DVD, the band, a week before release, held screenings in various cities for fans to enjoy. So that's kind of interesting to do.
I think I've
For
seen
the
the DVD.
have you okay. For this concert, the band played to its biggest crowd to date, 13,000. Woo! 13,000.
Woo!
13,000. You got nothing on us, Taylor Swift. Woo!
Woo!
At least I don't know what she was doing in 2006, but she didn't have a billion views on Spotify in 2006, I'll tell you that.
Right.
I don't even think Spotify was a thing in
Well,
2000, to be honest.
17 years later, those only have like 100,000 plays each or something. So
Nice. Punknews.org gave the live album a 4 out of 5 star rating and commented that when hearing or seeing the performance, quote, you begin to realize AFI are truly a great live band, end quote. And that at some points, quote, Pantera would say, turn that noise down, end quote. Okay. I don't know if
are they
that's,
saying they're supposed to be heavier than
I,
Pantera?
I guess,
They make Pantera look like old grandpas.
apparently so.
Huh. Okay.
I just found that one interesting. Thought I'd throw that one out at you, see what you think.
Okay.
Yeah. Through the next couple of years, the band would dive into side projects as Jade Puget and Davey Havoc would start the synth pop band Black Audio. Havoc started his own fashion line, and Puget worked as a producer slash mixer for other bands. Also, during this time, while living off the high of their previous album, the band would start to prepare for its follow up, 2009's Crash Love from Interscope DGC Records, produced by Joel McGrath, Jack Knifley, and the band AFI. Originally, David Bottrill was set to produce the album, but was quickly dismissed. And once the album was completed, this is the interesting thing. We talked about this on the last episode, kind of gave a little teaser to it. But once the album was completed, Davey Havoc would call Crash Love, quote, the album by which will be remembered. Now, we talked about this quote on the last episode, and I said I want to know what the context is. Is he saying, okay, we're done with this album. I personally think this is our best album, and people are going to remember us for this album because it's our best album, you know? Or is he saying along the lines of, I know how big December Underground was. I know how popular it was. I know, so on and so forth. and we've talked about it before, following up an album like that, like a December Underground, like a Define the Great Line. There was another one I thought today, but I can't remember what it was. Well, Suck Out the Poison by He Is Legend. To follow big albums like that, that's a lot of pressure because people are going to remember, they're going to remember that album, whether it flopped or it just kept, the roller coaster just kept going up. They're going to remember. And if it
If it
flops,
coffin flopped,
if it what?
if it coffin flopped,
What was that?
coffin floppers.
Coffin floppers?
Yeah, from I Think You Should Leave.
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen that one. Will they flip coffins?
They drop naked dead people out of coffins at funerals.
Oh, what? What? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to look that one up. Yeah, I want to know what the context is, which way he's stating.
I think you had it right whenever you brought up the point last week about this is the album they will be defined by, be like for better or for worse based
Right,
on coming off the massive success and the new sound of December Underground.
right.
And I was underwhelmed by this album for sure. It's it's a
Do you
tough
call it a
thing.
flop? Are they coffin
Um,
floppers?
it's a coffin flop.
It's a coffin
Um,
flop.
here's the thing though, like these next few albums still have lots of listens.
It reached a new audience with December Underground, though. That's the thing about it. You know, you reach a wider audience, you get more people who probably have different taste than what you had before. You know, especially being mainstream radio friendly, you know, or at least
Yeah.
I don't even know if I want to call it radio friendly, but I mean, it got radio plays. December
Yeah.
Underground did, you know, so you're definitely reaching a wider audience than what you had previously from, you know, Sing the Sorrow, even all the way to, you know, what's the one before Black Sails? I always get this one backed up or backwards. Shut your eyes, open your mouth, or shut your mouth, open your eyes. I can't remember exactly what it was.
It'd be shut your mouth, open your eyes, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, that's I mean, even to like that, I mean, you're definitely gaining a
Yeah.
bigger, broader audience. So
One thing I wanted to say was about this
yeah,
back half is I think that I could I can really see listening to it how it would appeal to a new generation of AFI fans, you
yeah,
know. Um if you like this, you probably like if you like Crash Love, you probably like most of, this back half.
the rest, yeah,
So it's just it's almost a different band, you know.
yeah. Mhm.
If they had started a different band and it had been Davey Havoc as the vocalist, it could have fooled me. Um, that being said, everybody still has like I can tell, like from listening to those old albums, I can tell that that's Jade on guitar.
Mhm.
Like the bass sounds exactly the same. I can, it's there's those hooks that they use that are still kind of present in places that
Calling
almost
card,
just
yeah,
feels like, hey, like we're
still
AFI
here.
still, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I could definitely see how this would appeal to that next wave of AFI fans.
yeah. Havoc would also comment on the style of the album, saying, quote, I would really describe this as a rock record, a really straightforward rock record. I don't think we've ever recorded one of these before. We've released hardcore records and we've released very multi-layered alt rock records, excuse me. But this is the most straightforward rock record I think we've ever written for so far. So for us, that is another matter of progression. Certainly, creating a rock record is nothing new in relation to the greater world of rock music, but for us, it's something we've never done before, so it's very fresh for us. I would definitely agree. This sounds like a just straightforward rock record to me.
Yeah, no,
So
agreed.
I definitely think he was definitely correct with that. Interesting fact for you, Josh. A contest was held where video submissions would determine five, yes, five lucky fans to come record backing vocals for the band. That'd be pretty cool. I mean,
That
if
would
you're
be pretty
really,
cool.
I mean, really into this band, yeah, that would definitely be pretty cool to be able to do that. Songs on this album include Torch Song, Beautiful Thieves, In Transmission, Too Shy to Scream, Veronica Sawyer Smokes. I saw her. She does it. Okay, I Feel Better Now. Medicate, which I will tell you, this song came on Medicate, and I was like, this sounds familiar. I remember when this song came out on the radio. I was like, okay, yeah, I remember this one. So that was kind of interesting to me because I didn't think I knew anything after December Underground. But then, yeah, I remembered this one being on the radio. There's also I Am Trying Very Hard to Be Here, Sacrilege, Darling, I Want to Destroy You, Cold Hands, It Was Mine. And you also have bonus tracks Carcinogenic Crush, Ether, Too Late for Gods, Breathing Towers to Heaven, Fainting Spells, We've Got the Knife. Who's got the knife? We got the knife. Where We Used to Play, and 100 Words. Is there any song that really pops out to you at all on this album, Josh? No.
No, and I feel
Yeah.
that way about there's like one track on these last few albums that feels like it grabbed me, like it actually
Okay.
like got my attention. I wasn't just listening to them and kind of trying to analyze them.
Just going. Yeah.
Um and that sounds bad, but
It just is what it is, though, man. I mean,
yeah.
that's music, buddy. That's music. Not everybody's going to like it. Yeah. All right. That's 2009's
That's
Crash
music, bitch.
Love. That's exactly, buddy. Exactly. The band would transition from Interscope Records to Republic Records for their next album, 2013's Burials, produced by Gil Norton and the band. Regarding the album's themes, AFI frontman Davey Havok stated, quote, "This record is of silence and the burials that result from the silence. It's of betrayal, cruelty, weakness. Excuse me, I got to part my hair. It's in my eyes. Anxiety, panic, deep and slow despair, injury, and loss. And in this, it is shamefully honest and resolutely unforgiving." I'm sorry, are we back to December Underground emo look? I mean, because you could have
I
fooled me.
I just remember brushing back my silky bangs to say there's a balloon.
What? What was that?
It's from The Office.
Okay.
They're
I
trying
don't
to
remember
figure out how
that.
long the balloon's been there, and
No.
Kevin's like,
That's right.
they're
He's
like, how
trying to
long ago
convince
do you
everybody he
think
had
that
hair.
was? Yeah, he was like, I don't know. I just remember brushing back my silky bangs, say, look, a balloon.
A balloon. Yeah, that was
Look, death and despair.
really weird. It's a betrayal. Cruelty, man. Like, okay. Alrighty, moving on. On the overall sound of the album, Havoc stated far, far less, quote, far, far less straightforward than what we did on the last record, which, much like every record we create, was the result of a natural growth, a natural indication of where we are as songwriters now. A review on SputnikMusic.com of the album stated, quote, "The core of AFI's sound, even in their Nitro record days, has always been built on pounding a pop hook into your head under the guise of a harsher medium. Get it in there, breathe it in." If anything has changed in their sound, it isn't their edge or their attitude. It's their discovery of atmosphere. Ooh. But even that goes
Their
back to
discovery of ambient textures.
Exactly. But even that goes back to Black Sails in the Sunset. It evolved from merely a haunting presence hanging over their melodramatic scene on God Called In Sick Today to relying on electronics for their intended effect on Sing the Sorrow. Burials is just a continued stepping stone in that regard. The same hooks and whoa-ohs that have been the cornerstone of every every set
Curtis, I
staple
think you
and
meant whoa.
yes. Has been the cornerstone of every. One more time. Can you do it one more time first?
Whoa.
Beautiful. That right there, people, has been the cornerstone of every set staple in their discography. For the past 2 decades, are still as abundant as ever. The only difference is that that backing atmosphere has now been pushed into the forefront. Single 17 Crimes sounds as rooted in its punk security as Wester or The Last Kiss ever did, while The Conductor and The Embrace pull their power from a shared influence from the darker side of late 80s pop with their abundant nods to Depeche Mode's moody songwriting. It's a simple shift in perspective that makes all the difference, as for the first time, it feels as though the two battling sides of AFI's past and where they've always wanted to go are reconciled into a cohesive whole. We are one. Yeah, that was one thing I was going to say. It seems like going back before Crash Love, when Jade and Davey started their side project, a synth pop band called Black Audio. It seems like they kind of get into this 80s kind of Depeche Mode vibe on that, and it kind of bleeds over into AFI.
Yep.
And so it's like, okay, I mean that's your side project. Go do that over there.
Yeah. Don't bring that over here.
Yeah, don't bring that DNA over here, man. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting that do that, because I thought that's why you have a side project, so you can do it on the side. So,
and I don't want, I've said this a million times, Curtis, but I don't want to hear keys on multiple tracks if you don't have a keyboardist as a member of your band. And I'm not talking about some guy who's playing keys and doing all your ambient shit on tour. Like, I'm talking about a member who is credited as keys on your album.
I can't think of his name. What's his name from Under Oath? I always know his name. Chris Dudley.
Chris Dudley.
You need a Chris Dudley in your life, people. If you're starting a band and you want to have keyboards, synth, ambient sounds, you need a Chris Dudley in your life. Get you a Chris Dudley now.
It's so lame. I hate that. I'm like, well, okay, here's the four guys. Which one of them is playing keyboard? Oh, well, actually, this is the guitarist, the bassist, the vocalist, and the drummer. Oh, okay, cool. Where's the keyboardist? You didn't answer my question. Which one's the keyboardist?
But that's the thing about it. They're all keyboardists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Songs on this album include The Sinking Night, I Hope You Suffer, A Deep, Slow Panic, No Resurrection, 17 Crimes, 17 counting, 17. The Conductor, Heart Stops, Rewind, The Embrace, Wild, Greater Than 84. That's 85. Just in case you don't know. Anxious, Anxious, and the finale, The Face Beneath the Waves. It's terrible, eh?
I don't like that song. Okay. Did you listen to the commentary version?
What? There's a commentary for what?
Yeah, so they have
wait, hold on a second. You mean to tell me in CD form they did a director's commentary?
Basically, but not exactly how you're thinking of it. So it's just each track is numbered the same and titled the same, and it basically on each track it doesn't play the music. It just has them talking about each one of those tracks.
No, why in the world would I listen to that?
Because I was interested on what
if I was really invested in it, I guess, yeah. But I listened to the music and I was like, yeah, I'm ready to move on.
Well, because I had the same thought you did. that I was like, are they really going to be talking over the music
Yeah.
like you would in,
That's really
like
what
a
I
movie
thought you were going to say.
commentary?
It was like it was a director's commentary in
Yeah.
CD version. It was like, that's terrible. Why would
So
I
that's
want to
why I
do that?
first listened to it. But then I felt like there was not a lot of substance to the lyrics in this album. And so that was the other reason that I wanted to listen. I was like, oh, I want to hear what they have to say, what they think is going on here, what they think they're
Yeah.
doing. And there were a couple parts that I was just like, are you kidding me? Like on when they're talking about greater than 84, they're
No,
like, it's
no.
one of like two pop tracks on the album. So I wanted to, like, are you kidding me? Have you guys listened to this whole album? Most of this album is pop tracks.
Yeah. I was just thinking about it. Law Dispute does that. They did that for their album Wildlife. But the cool thing about Wildlife is each song is about an actual story in real life, like a real life event. So they talk about that real life event, whether you knew it or not, and kind of give details on it, and then what it meant to them. So at least that has some substance to it. Whereas, yeah, like you're saying, it's like, there's only two pop songs, so we thought we'd make this one. No, 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 buddy. Yeah, that's yeah. Blech.
This album just does nothing for me.
Well, let's move on. Shall we? Let's just keep. Don't look in the past. Let's keep on moving forward. After touring for their previous album, both Davey Havok and Jade Puget would start another side project. Oh, we need another one. Now, this one's actually pretty interesting, and I want to go check this one out. It's a hardcore slash metalcore band. It's called Extremist. Now
Okay.
it's not spelled like the word extreme. It's spelled XTRMST. The interesting about this is it's got Davey Havok, Jade Puget from AFI. The other members are Chris Sorensen, who plays bass, and he's from the band Seosin. Josh James, who plays guitar, he's from Evergreen Terrace and Stick to Your Guns. And then on drums, you have Val Cicito from Loma Prida. I don't think I've ever heard anything from them, but I know that name at least. But I'm actually interested to go check that out and see how it is. I think they only put out one album and then they called it quits. Or did you
Yeah,
look it
they've
up?
got a full album and a couple singles.
Okay. So maybe it's just more on the back burner than anything. I don't know. I mean, I'm just kind of interested to see what it sounds like. So
Yeah.
okay, here's another one for you. Davey Havok would help start the new wave alternative rock band Dream Car. Ooh. In
Ooh.
2016. Davey would start this band with the members of No Doubt, minus Gwen Stefani, because we
Oh,
don't
that's
we
kind of
don't need
cool.
her apparently. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. I wouldn't mind
I might
checking
check
them
that
out
out too.
too.
Yeah.
With all this attention on side projects, fans started to wonder if AFI was finished. Are they done? Is it over? Is the war over? Is it safe to come out? Kaboom! No, we've got the self-titled album from 2017, AFI, also referred to as the Blood Album, from Concord Records, produced by Jade Puget, Matt Hyde, and the rest of the band. Debuted at number five on the Billboard 200. Hailed by some as their quote, comeback album. Whoa! Is it, Josh? Is it their comeback album?
No, but it is some redemption for
The last one?
Burials.
Okay. Okay.
The first few tracks are not very strong, but it does build to something there in the middle. I will say that. I was going through these tracks and was pleasantly surprised by about the middle of the album. I was like, wow, this is like it's not like the old stuff, like they're not going back. Let's just be done with that. But within this new sound, like I felt good about what they were doing here. Now, am I going to throw this album on? Probably not, because who they are as a band in the second half is not for me. But
But maybe it's for you, the listener.
it might work for them.
Yeah. In an interview with Gin Handley of Alternative Press, Jade Pudgett talked about the post-punk and new wave influences on the record and how there really is elements of it, although it was not his or Havoc's intention when writing songs for the record. Pudgett states, quote, "These directions just come out of us for one reason or another. They just come out, you know." People have been saying that AFI is, quote, 80s for like 15 years now. So the fact that there is new wave on there isn't that surprising. Okay. I don't know. All right.
I mean, so they had, their original sound is an 80s sound.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of what he's saying. Like
Okay.
they're
I
already
guess
in
I'm
that
just
headspace.
okay. I guess I'm sticking with the Depeche Mode type
Yeah,
stuff.
the Depeche Mode stuff, like that too.
Okay. Okay. Songs on this album include Dark Snow, Still a Stranger. Uh, is it? Oh, he says it in the song, so I know this is going to make it even worse that I'm going to butcher it. And I'm trying to remember how he says it. Is it Aurelia? Aurelia? I can't remember how he
Um,
says it. He says it in the song.
Euralia? Yeah, Aurelia?
Aurelia?
Euralia?
Aurelia. I think it's Aurelia.
Okay.
Aurelia? Really? Hidden Knives, Get Hurt, Above the Bridge, So Beneath You, Snowcats. This is the other one that when it came on and started playing, I was like, the music sounds familiar. And it got into the lyrics and everything. I was like, I remember when this one came out on the radio too. It's really interesting to me because it's just weird that like I thought my knowledge of AFI, at least song wise, stopped with December Underground. And then yeah, I'd forgotten that I had heard those two songs afterwards, actually on the radio when they debuted. You also have Dumb Kids, Pink Eyes, Feed from the Floor, White Offerings, She Speaks the Language, and the Wind That Carries Me Away. I just now realized this, but She Speaks the Language makes me think of Dead Language for a Dying Lady. And then the Wind That Carries Me Away makes me think of I Am the Wind and You Are the Feather. That's funny. That is
Oh,
funny. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Okay. So the middle of the album, where is it hidden for you? From what song to what?
I think I can start to see it a little bit in Hidden Knives,
Okay.
but it is kind of delayed through Get Hurt and Above the Bridge.
Okay.
But they're like So Beneath You, Snowcats, Dumb Kids. I could see any one of those tracks having been recorded the same as the tracks on December Underground, same conditions, at the same
Maybe
time.
they were one of the 120, especially
Possibly.
Snowcats,
I
man.
could
Yeah.
I could see those tracks being on that album.
Yeah. Maybe so, man. I'd be very interested to see if that's how many of these songs after December Underground were a part of those songs that they wrote in the December Underground sessions.
That
Be
would be
very
interesting.
interesting. Yeah. All righty. That is 2017's self-titled, also known as the Blood Album. Almost 1 year after releasing their latest album, the band surprised fans with a brand new EP entitled 2018's The Man Missing EP from Ex Noctem Nakamur Nikamurma Nemani. Yeah. Yeah.
From who?
Well, I think I tried figuring this out. I want to say this is a record label that they started,
Okay.
but I can't. I couldn't find like solid evidence on that. But I could have swore at one point I had seen maybe that or something hinted at maybe that it was their own record label, and it's gonna release on or it's gonna release this EP and then their last full length. But on this EP, Wall of Sound had the album, or gave the album, a 7.5 out of 10 rating, stating, quote, taking away everything we know about the band in the past, this new release showcases a very talented band capable of playing a whole range of different styles they have yet been able to hone in on. Hmm? Hmm? You still think it's garbage?
I don't think this album is garbage. There's just
Just didn't
the
do it for you.
first couple and the last couple are not great.
Okay.
The middle, there's some good stuff. I was going to say White Offerings. That one also I could have easily seen, even in its current form, being on December Underground. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot of songs that on this one that kind of go back to that December Underground sound, which, like
Wait
you
a
were
minute.
saying,
Wait a minute. Did you say something about white offerings?
yes.
Wait, is that on the EP or are you talking about the Blood album?
No, White Offerings is on Blood.
Oh, okay. I was supposed to say I don't have that in my track list here. Okay. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Gotcha.
Um, but yeah, they definitely went back to that. But that's why, like you were wondering, are some of those tracks, because they feel so much like December Underground, were they a part? I mean, odds are yes. That's a high number.
Yeah, it's
And if they
true.
have a similar feel, but they might just be trying to replicate a little bit of that sound.
Yeah. Tell me what you think about this quote from Exclaim. In their mixed review of the album, they described it as, quote, hot topic dad rock.
Ooh,
What does that even mean?
Hot Topic Dad Rock.
Does that mean you're old but you're still shopping at Hot Topic?
Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm. Dad rock. Nice.
when AFI is Dad
Nice.
Rock.
Dad rock. Wow. Okay. By 2019, the band had finished writing their next full length album and was ready to release it in 2020. But we all know what happened in 2020. We've talked about it several times, people. COVID, that's right, COVID, would force the band to hang on to the album for a whole year. 1 year later, 2021, we received Bodies, produced by Jade Puget and the rest of the band. First album since Black Sails in the Sunset to not chart on the Billboard 200. A short film was made entitled Where We Used to Meet, directed by Kes Glossier, which used music from the album, including a song that didn't make the final cut entitled Caught. Ben Tipple of DIYMag.com reviewed the album, stating Bodies, the band's 11th studio album, is testament to both their longevity and their adaptability. Although not a huge departure from their previous release, it forges together the various elements of AFI's past into a remarkably coherent package. Led by Davey Havok's distinctive vocals, the band lean heavily on 80s new wave and their punk foundations. The record's highly polished production pulls it together, colliding both worlds on the likes of the rapid Begging for Trouble track and Looking Tragic. Death of the Party owes much to 80s stalwarts. Both Dulceria and the brilliantly melodramatic Tied to a Tree presents the unique balladry that AFI had perfected across the last decade. Aware of the risk of their transient nature, Bodies sees AFI find the sweet spot between evolution and consistency. In fully embracing theatrics, their new wave leanings, and the unquestionable punk legacy, the band have landed on a sound both contemporary and unmistakably theirs. So it sounds pretty positive. Whereas Exclaim writer Adam Feeble panned the album, rating it a 3 out of 10 stars. Ooh.
Oh, does Adam have a review? I'd love to hear his
Yes.
review.
Yes.
Perfect. Fantastic.
Adam describes it as, quote, a mostly lifeless album that puts AFI at perhaps their lowest moment. He further said, quote, with Bodies, they sound lost without an identity. there's barely anything that's exciting or memorable. And when it surprises, it's only in the wrong ways. The band sounds about 30 years less experienced than they are.
That just really hit the nail on the head there.
Man.
That was spot on.
Yep.
Um, Curse, this is one of those albums I was talking about that's just nothing but filler. There's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely nothing here. And there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing here other than Davey Havok's vocals that sound like AFI at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Agreed.
I don't know
They
what to do with
definitely
this
changed,
album.
man. The only thing I have to say
Turn it
about it
off.
is
That's what you
it's
do.
nice. Nice. The only thing I have to say about this album is the finishing song, "Tied to a Tree." That acoustic. No, hold on. I'm not saying I like it. I'm saying the acoustic guitar riff that's played throughout that song makes me think of the piano riff on More from Every Time I Die. And when I was listening to that song, I kept waiting for the drums to hit, just like it did in Every Time I Die, man. And then I had to go listen to More by Every Time I Die because I was really, really into More by Every Time I Die at that moment. So yeah. Dun 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 da 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 da. Pay
And
no
the guitar,
mind to the
yeah.
stranger in.
And
Yes.
then,
Oh,
but
that's such a haunting song, man.
the guitar riff though is like higher up. It's like
Oh, for sure. I'm just saying it makes me think of that.
yeah.
Yeah, it
It's I
just
mean
makes
it's the
because it's just
same
kind of like
pattern.
repetitive over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
more.
it's the same beat.
Yeah. But other than that, yeah, I'm not looking back. I told Eric today, I said, usually, especially like a band like this, where their back half of their discography, haven't heard at all. I usually try to give these albums two listens through to really get, a feeling of it. And bro, they were lucky to get one listen, to be honest with you. And this is probably the one time out of all the bands we've listened to that I got to the end of the discography and I was just like, yeah, I'm just pretty glad this is over with. And it's not that I hated it, and I've enjoyed like the early stuff and especially the middle pack, but yeah, I was just by the time we get to this back half of the discography, I'm burnt out, man. I'm done.
It's upsetting.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, all right, what else is there? Oh, ooh, more about every time I die. Okay, dun dun dun. That's probably going to become my pneumonia hawk now. You want to listen to more by every time I die? Sure, why not? Why not? Yeah,
That's gonna be your pneumonia hawk.
that's going to be my pneumonia hawk probably. Do you have anything else on their latest full length release?
No, I mean
I'm
that's it, man.
yeah,
There's nothing to it, and I think I'm not alone in that thinking because the review was 3 out of 10. So
Adam's with you. Yeah. Again, like we always say, these are our opinions. You may not feel that way. You may really enjoy these, so go check it out for yourself in the end.
for sure,
We're just trying to give you, kind of a foundation of what to expect in these bands. So I'm going to close it out here with a quote from Jade Pudgett in 2021. He talked about the band's sound throughout their history, saying, quote, anyone who knows our catalog knows that no two records release it together. Some sit a little closer, maybe, but we do certain things just by virtue of who we are that are consistent, but those things come about organically. Every time we do something, I have to judge it on its own merits. Some fans are going to judge a new album or a new song based on what's come before. But as artists, we can't do that because it would only hinder our creativity. I mean, you got to agree with him for sure. And I mean, it's basically the same line that you gave to us before we came into this episode with December Underground is forget everything that happened before, forget Sing the Sorrow, and don't even think about the future if you know it. Just listen to December Underground for what it is right now, you know. So I think you're on mute, maybe. If you did say
Yes.
something, I don't know. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, I agree with that. And the second half, it's basically a different band, so and that review is
yeah.
written based on the fact that like it's AFI and you
Mhm.
have that reputation in mind. Um, but you know how I feel about this. I feel like if you want to go a 100% different direction, you should probably just start a new band. Even if it's the same guys, I'm okay with that. But come out and play as, you know, a different band whenever you're going to play that stuff.
Yeah. Well, here in 2023, the band's still going, as far as I know. Be interesting to see what their next release will be like if they continue in the same direction as Bodies. Um, who knows? Who knows, man? We'll see. But their current lineup is Davey Havoc on vocals, Jade Puget on guitar, Hunter Bergen on bass, and Adam Carson on drums. Final thoughts, Josh, about the band AFI, if you have any.
I mean, I've really enjoyed this one. Um,
How far up there are they for you in terms of like favorite bands?
they're pretty up there. They're
Okay.
among my most played, especially those first few albums.
Top five,
Um,
top 10.
Definitely top 10. If they were top
Okay.
5, then they probably make like the fifth.
Okay. Cool, man. Yeah, it's been a good ride. Like I said, I came into it not realizing that they were, punk in their early years like they were. Really enjoyed the middle of the
Real
discography.
punk,
That was good. We're
not
talking about real punk, yeah.
yeah, not
Yeah.
what's labeled as punk. Like yeah,
Yeah, no,
that's
no,
it
no.
was
We're talking about
legit
like
punk.
true 80s punk, yeah. But then yeah, I really enjoyed the middle of the discography. Shut your mouth, open your eyes, Black Sails, um, Art of Drowning and Sing the Sorrow and even December Underground. But yeah, this last half of the discography from, about Crash Love on, it's just I've listened to it and I've heard what I need to hear, and I'm sure I probably won't revisit it for sure. So,
Yeah.
but you people should make your own decision. All right, let's get on out of here, Josh. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at @IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings, not just on this show, but our other shows as well, Josh. We've got the History of the Chorus After Hours podcast, where I sit down with my good friend and avid listener to this very podcast right here, Eric. We actually have two brand new episodes that were just recorded today.
What?
Whoa. Yeah, I was going to
Today?
say, this is my third time within the
Oh
last,
man, you've
like,
been
hold on. This is the third time in the last, probably about 5 to 6 hours that I've read this outro. Yeah, I've been on a recording spree today, man. So I'm ready to call it quits and go to bed here in a little bit. But we got two brand new episodes coming up. One coming up this week on Wednesday about the band Vanna, and then next week on Wednesday about the band He Is Legend. So definitely be on the lookout for those two. There were two really good episodes. We both enjoyed that recording those. You also have the Red Right Hand podcast, which has covered all 6 seasons of the Peaky Blinders and then some. And we've talked a little bit about the possibility of a movie. It's still kind of up in the air right at the moment, so we'll
join
see
us
what
while we
happens.
grasp at straws.
Come on, it's got to be there somewhere, man. Yeah. We also have the Throne of the Dragon podcast, which so far has covered season 1, soon to be season 2 of House of the Dragon from HBO. Currently, we are talking about the Targaryen family line. We started with Aegon the Conqueror, and now we're on to his children, soon to be their children's children, and then their children's children, and their children's children's children, and then their children's children's children. And then sooner or later, it's just going to probably stop. And then we'll
Well,
move on with
Fire
our
and Blood
lives.
only covers like most of the dance. I don't even know if it covers the entire dance.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, so there should be a new episode of that coming here soon too, so be
Yep.
on the lookout for that one.
Next couple weeks.
I think that one actually we're going to be talking about more of season 2 and some of the information coming out on that, right? The
Well, that'll
next
be a
episode
side
is about
thing.
that. Yeah, the next episode is going to be that one, but we're also working on the next one for the Targaryen family too. So be on the lookout for those 2 episodes. How about that? We'll say that.
There we go.
There we go. Nice. Also, while you're on Twitter, make sure to follow my co-host at Joshua Lynn Gary. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review and write us a comment on whatever podcast service you're using. And if you want to listen to us, see our smiling faces, head on over to our YouTube page. Just search Is Survived by Productions, and that'll have every episode from all of our shows. Subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video. Alrighty, we will see you in the next episode of the History of the Chorus podcast, where we're going to talk about the Solid State Records band, To Speak of Wolves. We'll see you.